Welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. Woohoo! Today we're going to Minmus, the smaller of the two moons. Also, the more difficult one to get an encounter with, but definitely easier to get back from. But we aren't coming back, so I wanna start setting up a base there. And so today we're going to send a lander and a rover to the edge of the plane, big plane on Minmus, and we're just gonna, try and set up a pretty cool base. Be pretty epic. So you can ignore what I'm doing here. I mean, yeah. So I put down an arm on top of a piston on top of a hinge, but I did change that. So I decided, you know what, you don't need to see that. I'm just gonna put some storage containers in there for science experiments, stuff like that. I think is it from Breaking Ground? I think. Anyway, so we put two in. Just offset them two in line with each other, and just sink them down a bit. It's a very basic rover. This doesn't look like anything special. It's just 2 seats, 6 wheels, some storage. There's plenty of science on it. I just slapping stuff in. Now, I was gonna put this big thing, and actually I could have done it in the end, but obviously I was like, oh no, I don't want it to clip in with the arm. But then I got rid of the arm anyway, so it doesn't actually matter. That being said, it is very fragile, so I probably would have had to put it away whenever I was driving, so I just went for the smaller ones instead. Stick some sockets in wherever we can, put some thermometers, accelerometers, magnometer, is it called? I can't remember. Surface scanning. And obviously I couldn't fit one of those on, so just decided not to. Put some headlights on. Nice, and a little ladder. There we go. Very nice. It's actually it's fine. This thing, it works perfectly fine. I put an SAS wheel on the bottom just to help keep it upright. Set it to SAS only, because otherwise if you have it to pilot as well, it can actually, it can flip the rover if the rover's light enough, which it probably is. Put a solar panel on the back, I believe. Yeah, I decided to go for that one just because then it wouldn't clip in with the floor when it rotates. I think at this point, I swap out this for just a smaller arm, and then obviously I can hinge it out and put the arm out. There we go. Now we're going to put in the bit which will attach to the lander. Just a little tower with a junior docking port on top, and that's pretty much the rover done. I'm just going to take it out for a quick test drive. It is light enough that you can actually flip it just by turning too hard. Now we're going to build the lander. I had a couple of ideas of how I was going to do the lander. I was going to have the rover kind of in like its own little thing that was going to deploy once you got there. But I decided, you know what, we'll have it hanging underneath. It looks a bit better that way, I think. Whether or not it was, in any way the sensible decision is completely different, but it looks a bit better. So that's all that really matters, if we're honest. Put some batteries in here, RTGs. I think we do put batteries in anyway, but also 2 RTGs just to give it enough power. Some solar panels as well, just in case, you never know. And I think we do end up going with this little bit of structural fuselage there, just a little one. And we are going to build, I think we build the thrusters now. Come on, I dare you. Yes, okay, so what we do is we get some, there we are, the girders, and we actually went with four thrusters, which is completely overkill for this, but it works. It's nice and stable for actually sitting on the planet. I did consider using nuclear engines, but in the end I went for Terriers, just because they work a bit better for this kind of thing with landing legs, because they're very short. So I made sure that if the landing legs were put away, it would be able to technically most likely dock with the rover. Although I'm not sure if I actually would be able to. I didn't check. which is probably a mistake on my part. I was going to put monopropellant in there, but I put batteries instead, just because you can never have enough batteries. And then on top of here, I just put a little tower for some reason. I guess it's just extra space. Feel less bad for the cobblers who are going to sit in here for like months on end whilst I build the rest of the stuff to be sent up to join them in the colony. Now, this rocket, very easy, quite small, just a little fairing on the top. It is, still considerably sized, I guess, but it was, more than enough for what we needed it for. It got us into quite a high orbit. That was to just get a nice easy encounter with minmus, even if it did take a while for minmus to be in the right position. So we do a nice big gravity turn. So the thing about this rocket is I was just trying to get a nice high apoapsis. So just speeding up, going as fast as possible at this point. Really, pretty much going horizontal. Have our apoapsis inside of one's orbit because we don't want to, be thrown off course by it. And once we get to apoapsis, just burn, prograde just a bit, just to raise our periapsis outside of the atmosphere. So I think now we're just going to finish our secularization. Took no time at all. It's got perfectly good first to rate ratio, this thing. And finally managed to get an encounter. Took quite a bit of fuel, but it's whatever. Although this encounter, it didn't go that well. It sort of gave up on me halfway through, so I did have to redo it. As you can see, we did end up on a bit of a weird inclination relative to minmus, so we did have to just push up a bit, just to get us to. I was just making sure everything worked, nothing was broken. And even though it was, quite a big burn, we have a fine thrust to rate ratio. We're not waiting months and months to finish it, like sometimes you have to do if you have a really huge ship. Obviously that encounter didn't quite work, so I had to just do a quick correction burn. And there we go. Now lowering our orbit around minmus. Being captured. What we're going to do is we're going to lower it here. And then we're just going to, lower it more on the other side, get a nice circular kind of orbit. Although I did go a bit too low, so I decided, bring it back up a bit. And that allows us to, get a better trajectory into our chosen landing spot. I want to go to like the edge of the planes. So actually, I did accidentally prograde there, but that's, that's fine. Now that maneuver really means nothing. It doesn't need to be there. Don't worry about that. And so we're coming into land. We're coming towards the edge. Slow down a bit so that we can just get our thing right. I do slow down a bit too much, and I do end up going back up at like 1 or 2 meters per second, but it's fine. We keep going down. And quite low now, quite close to the planes. We get very close to the edge actually. I'm very happy with that, where we landed. It'd be a perfectly decent spot for a base, nice and flat, but also right next to the more interesting areas of the planet. So I did try to transfer, but obviously you can't transfer someone onto a control seat. So we're just going to get Legar, does that say? I don't know, it's a bit grainy in the window. I think it says Legar Kerman, she could take control of this thing, undock it from the, and just, park it. Especially on minmus, it rolls very easily if you just turn a bit too hard. So minmus does have very low gravity. I think this lander could probably get back if it had parachutes, which doesn't. So if you tried, you would die. But but it could get back to Kerbin. But it's not really meant to, so it's fine. Now she's just gonna get back on the ship and wait for the rest of the colony to arrive. So yeah, I think we're just gonna time warp round till it's day. Time warp round, go. Yes, and sun comes up. Boom, look. What a nice spot. Perfectly good spot. Very nice. Yeah, so, yeah. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to subscribe.